A new study shows women are working longer hours and spending more time taking care of the kids. They're also spending less time sleeping and less time relaxing or socializing. The Labor Department found working women worked 7 hours and 20 minutes during the typical workday last year. Men worked 7 hours, 54 minutes. Working mothers also spend around 2 hours each day caring for their children. That's 15 minutes more than they did in 2017. Working fathers typically spent less than an hour and a half on childcare. We want to thank you so much for watching the KCRA 3 News at 4. Walter and I have much more on the deadly shooting of a Sacramento police officer, and that's coming up next at 5. Mourning one of Sacramento's finest.
We lost a hero. We lost a leader.
Officer Tara O'Sullivan killed in the line of duty.
I'm honored to have known her, and I know that her legacy will live on in this community.
Very, very sad. Sad for everybody, the family, and our neighbors too, because she's lived there like 20 years.
How her heartbroken community is remembering her life and impact on theirs.
In the meantime, investigators still combing through the scene, working through all of the evidence.
And I heard shots fired, several shots fired, and then I heard more shots later on in the evening.
We talked to neighbors who watched it all unfold.
And the suspect's identity now revealed. What we're learning about the man who police say took the life of one of their own.
Where the news comes first. This is KCRA 3 News at 5.
She had a big heart, a strong mind, a great personality. She made you smile.
I just always looked up to her for guidance, and she's definitely a role model and will always be a hero in my heart.
A hero and new officer to the Sacramento Police Force dies in the line of duty, shot and killed yesterday afternoon. Officer Tara O'Sullivan grew up in the Bay Area and graduated from Sacramento State University.
Here's what we know so far. Officers responded to a call of a domestic disturbance at around noon to a home on Esperanza Drive. It was around 6 in the evening that officers were helping a woman collect her personal belongings at a home on Redwood Avenue. And that's when police say that the suspect came into the home, opened fire, and killed Officer Tara O'Sullivan. Live Copter 3 video from yesterday shows the massive police response. Officers swarmed the scene with tanks and trucks and slowly made their way to Officer O'Sullivan to rush her to the hospital where she passed away. The evacuation order for that neighborhood was just lifted 20 minutes ago. And now here's our first look at the suspect, 45-year-old Adel Ramos. Police were in a standoff with him until around 2 in the morning. Ramos faces murder charges in connection with the shooting.
Live Copter 3 flying over the scene of the shooting today, and you can see there's still a heavy police presence. It was taped off. We saw an armored tank that had driven through a fence right there, bullet holes in a car parked outside. We also saw some trees knocked down from everything that happened yesterday. There was a lot of debris around the home.
And today, Governor Gavin Newsom ordered the flags to fly at half-staff in honor of Officer O'Sullivan. And here you can see the flags at the state capitol right now.
We have team coverage of the shooting investigation, from how it unfolded to who Officer Sullivan was. We begin with KCRA 3's Brian Heap, who's live at Memorial Auditorium tonight. Brian?
Kelly and Walter, Officer Tara Sullivan was a recent recruit. Back in December, she graduated from this police academy here in Sacramento. And tonight, coincidentally, at the Sacramento Memorial Auditorium, the next batch of recruits for the police department will take the same oath of office that she did, to serve and protect our communities and put their lives on the line. And if you look right now down the sidewalk, you can see some of their friends and family have gathered here tonight to show their support and their pride for the decision that their loved ones have made tonight. It's the same decision that Officer O'Sullivan made. It is a very difficult one. Officer O'Sullivan graduated from this academy back in December, and prior to that, she went through a special training program for law enforcement officers at Sacramento State University. And today we learn more about her from KCRA 3's Vicki Gonzalez, who spent the day talking with the faculty and friends who knew Officer O'Sullivan. Vicki?
Brian, Tara O'Sullivan graduated last May from Sacramento State, going right into the police academy. Today, her alma mater is honoring the slain officer. Flags are at half-staff. The campus today is just heavy in grief. We heard from those who knew her best and explained what sets her apart from the rest.
We lost a Hornet.
A hero, leader, humble, a big heart with a strong mind. Those are just some of the words to describe Officer Tara O'Sullivan from her Sacramento State family.
We are a family, you know us, and so we all hurt today.
Career counselor Melissa Ripa, a mentor, closely watching her devotion for others.
I think that's what hurts so much, is that she had such potential as a change agent and somebody who could really change the community.
O'Sullivan was among the first class of the university's law enforcement candidate program, exploring what it takes to serve with a badge. Ricky Williams is her former classmate, now a Sac State officer.
She was the first person that I met actually through the program. She really exemplified that she was not just going to be an officer, but a person. She really had a super outgoing personality.
The 26-year-old young in age, but leaving behind a legacy of what kind of person to be in this world.
Living in Sacramento, she's the exact kind of person that I want to protect me, to protect my family.
She would want me to do what I'm going to do. Stingers up.
Just an emotional day today. Sacramento State tells us they are actually creating a scholarship in O'Sullivan's honor. They are also naming a chair after her inside the planetarium, which is set to open later this fall, because while a student here, she actually worked in the dining hall serving food for others. Live at Sacramento State, Vicki Gonzalez, KCRA 3 News. Brian?
Vicki, it's clear she touched a lot of lives there at Sacramento State. Thank you. Today we were back at the North Sacramento neighborhood where the shooting took place, and as you can imagine, it's a very complex crime scene there for the investigators to sort out. We talked with a bunch of people in the area, and each person we spoke with told us they were very saddened by the loss of Officer Sullivan. And inside of the yellow crime scene tape, you'll see there's another section of red tape. That's called the interior perimeter near the crime scene. That's where police were working today, and we did see some officers who looked to be detectives going door to door and trying to interview some of the people who live there. We also spoke with neighbors who live outside of the investigation area about what they saw and heard last night.
And I saw several police officers running to the left down Edgewater, and then I heard shots fired, several shots fired, and then I heard more shots later on in the evening.
All of a sudden we heard pow pow, and I thought it was some fireworks. And then we heard pow, 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 and we were like, no, that's a shootout. And so then the next thing I know, here comes all the police.
And of course, this shooting situation touched off a standoff that lasted for about 8 hours last night. It finally ended just before 2 o'clock in the morning when the accused gunman turned himself into police. And today we've been learning more about who that accused shooter is. And tonight we spoke with KCRA 3's Kevin Oliver is live now at the Sacramento County Jail with more on what he has found out today. Kevin?
That's right, Brian. Adel Ramos is sitting in the Sacramento County Jail tonight and isn't talking. He's being held without bond until his first court hearing. We discovered today he's familiar not only with the jail but with the criminal justice system. We found criminal records showing he's been arrested multiple times in Sacramento County over the past 20 years. The most recently, he was cited for a misdemeanor battery on a minor just last November, and a court ordered him to stay away from that minor. The court also issued a warrant for Ramos's arrest just 10 days ago after he repeatedly failed to show up for court hearings in that case. Back in 1999, he was also arrested for battery and injury to a spouse, served 15 days in jail, and was placed on 3 years probation. He also has a drunk driving charge back in 1995 and a theft charge back in 2001. Now, we were able to track down his ex-wife earlier today, but she was clearly shaken by what has happened over the past 24 hours and was reluctant to talk about Ramos. Reporting live in Sacramento, Kevin Oliver, KCRA 3 News. Brian?
Okay, Kevin, thank you. And we also know that Officer O'Sullivan, getting back to her for a moment, she grew up in the Pleasant Hill area and she graduated from Park High School. And today we had a chance to talk with some of the neighbors who watched her grow up.
It just shocked me. I just could not believe it. You know, it was really sad. Very, very sad. Sad for everybody, the family and our neighbors too, because she's lived there like 20 years. Seen her grow up. Yes, she played, you know, with the kids. We used to have 15 kids on the street that would just all play together. And it was just really big old happy family.
And today, we also heard from California Governor Gavin Newsom talking about the death of this officer in the line of duty. His office released a statement today, and the governor says Officer O'Sullivan represented the best of what we hope to be as human beings in her selfless service to the community and readiness to help those in need. The governor went on to say she knew the dangers of the job, yet chose to dedicate herself at such a young age to those values anyway. And back here live, as we talked about, there's a new batch of Sacramento Police Department recruits who are about to put their lives on the line and make that same promise that Officer O'Sullivan did. And KCRA3's Marley Martinez is here with me. She's going to be at tonight's ceremony, and she joins us now with a little bit more on what we can expect. Marley?
And in fact, Brian, my photographer and I were in the same exact position exactly 6 months ago at the last graduation, Tara O'Sullivan's graduation. We have some video from that ceremony. That night, 47 officers, including O'Sullivan, officially joined the force, banding together with their brothers and sisters in blue. But then just 6 months later, she was gunned down. Sacramento Police Department's first officer killed in the line of duty in the past 2 decades. And of course, that fact will weigh heavily on all of the family members, all of the officers out here tonight. About 6 months ago as well, you will remember that there was another officer killed in the line of duty, that one from the Davis Police Department. And just a few minutes ago, we saw Davis's police chief walk into the ceremony tonight. These 2 stories of bravery will be highlighted at tonight's ceremony. Back to you, Brian.
Okay, Marley, thank you. And again, with that ceremony tonight, as you might expect, there are a lot of uniformed Sacramento police officers here tonight to show their support. And you can't help but notice that they all have on their badge that black band running right across of it, right across the badge in honor of Officer O'Sullivan tonight. So for now, I will send it back to you, Walter and Kelly, and we will, of course, have more coming up tonight at 6.
Well, we're sure proud of those cadets that are going to be graduating tonight, as I know this will weigh heavily on them, but sure wish them all the best in this career. Thanks, Brian.
Now, it's been 20 years since a Sacramento police officer was killed in the line of duty. Officer William Bean was shot after pulling over a wanted suspect on February 9th, 1999. We have continuing coverage on this deadly shooting on the free KCRA3 app, including the life of Officer Tara O'Sullivan and tributes to her for her service. Terminal A at Sacramento International Airport was evacuated for a short time this afternoon after reports of a suspicious package. Now, these pictures show law enforcement at the scene. Our KCRA3 cameras also captured law enforcement there. This all happened at around 12:30 this afternoon. The Sheriff's Department says that there was no danger to the public, but they were diverting traffic away from Terminal A. Operations were back to normal in about a half hour. At the state capitol, lawmakers held a hearing on a controversial vaccine exemption bill. There were hundreds in line who spoke today, many voicing their opposition to the bill. It was recently changed after Governor Gavin Newsom voiced concerns about too much state government oversight over family health matters. The measure has been altered so that health officials can question doctors who give more than 5 vaccine exemptions a year, as well as schools that have vaccination rates.
A Sacramento County Sheriff's deputy accused of having sex with a 16-year-old boy faced a judge today. 44-year-old Shauna Bishop appeared in a Sacramento courtroom. The charges were read, though she did not enter a plea. Bishop will be back in court next month. She was told not to have any contact with the boy. She's on leave until this case is over. Highway 99 was shut down this morning after a major crash involving a Caltrans paving machine. It happened on the southbound side near Fruit Ridge. We're told a big rig collided with the paving machine. The truck rolled over, spilling its load of scrap metal. The CHP tells us both construction workers and the big rig drivers escaped without any major injuries.
So how will the U.S. respond after a massive military drone is shot down by Iran? What the president and lawmakers are saying in Washington today.
Also coming up, strange goggles featured at a health event that drew students from every Modesto City high school. How they're helping student athletes see something a little more clearly. Iran shoots down a massive unmanned U.S. drone, claiming it was defending its airspace.
This comes after heightened tension in the Middle East. And as Aixa Diaz reports, the question now is, how will the U.S. respond?
We're not going to be talking too much about it. You're going to find out they made a very big mistake. President Trump reacting to Iran's strike on a U.S. drone and meeting with congressional leaders at the White House to discuss the next steps.
Here's what Iran needs to get ready for: severe pain.
U.S. Central Command says the surveillance drone was flying over the Strait of Hormuz near Iran when it was shot down. Iranian officials claim the drone violated their airspace, but the Pentagon says it was flying over international waters.
I have a feeling that it was a mistake made by somebody that shouldn't have been doing what they did.
But military officials say the strike was no accident.
This attack is an attempt to disrupt our ability to monitor the area following recent threats to international shipping and the free flow of commerce.
Democrats are urging the administration to be strategic and responsible in its response.
We have to recognize that working together with our allies is very, very important.
Critics say tensions are higher now because the U.S. is no longer part of the Iran nuclear deal, and Iran itself has threatened to walk away from the terms of that agreement in the coming days. In Washington, Aixa Diaz, KCRA 3 News.
Iran insists that the drone invaded its airspace and says that it's taken its case to the United Nations to prove the U.S. is lying about the drone's location.
The Boy Scouts of America is launching a new sex abuse awareness program as they face a potential huge wave of abuse-related lawsuits. A bulk of newly surfaced cases date back to the 1960s, 70s, and 80s. The chief executive of the Scouts has admitted the organization did allow known predators to work with kids, saying Scout leaders who had credible accusations of sex abuse were allowed to return to posts. The new program targets children from kindergarten to 6th grade through videos to teach them how to recognize abusive behavior and how to report it. The Boy Scouts of America's youth participation of 2.2 million is down from more than 4 million in years past.
Some lawmakers in Washington are asking for a cost of living pay increase, but top Senate Republican Mitch McConnell says that the GOP-controlled chamber won't go along with it. Now, it would be the first raise in 10 years. Rank-and-file lawmakers make $174,000 a year wage. The average American makes around $56,000. Well, ready to take the field in Modesto today, the Doctors Medical Center helped host health screenings for high school athletes.
For $25, doctors made sure athletes were healthy, but they also gave them a lot of tips on staying healthy on the court, things like getting proper hydration. They were given CPR lessons and even learned to recognize the signs and symptoms of athletic injuries like concussions. They got to try on these concussion goggles to understand what it looks like to see with a concussion. 100% of the funds raised today were donated to the high school student body accounts. Back to KCRA 3 weather now as we take a live look at the skies over Fairfield. Certainly cooler temperatures than we've seen in the past couple days, and we are focusing a bit on the wind.
Let's check in again with Mark for more on that.
Yeah, we are going to be seeing a bit more of a breeze during the day tomorrow, but right now we have blue sky and a pretty comfortable day. Cooler than it has been the last few days, but probably also the coolest day we'll see out of the next few. We have 87 degrees in Sacramento with a westerly wind at 9. We'll still have enough of a delta breeze around tonight to make for a very comfortable night. We have 87 currently in Stockton with a wind out of the northwest at 14. Modesto, sunny, 87 degrees, beautiful day. These temperatures just about average for this time of year. Fairfield has 79, pretty good onshore wind once again, southwesterly wind at 22, but I don't think it's going to be quite as windy in Fairfield and Rio Vista and Ileton as it was last night. And in Tahoe, sunshine, a few clouds, and 70 degrees at South Shore with a wind out of the south at 14 miles an hour. It is cooler than this time yesterday, especially in the foothills, Placerville. We were 13 degrees cooler than this time yesterday. Big time cool down throughout the area, but this is likely where we bottom out. Tomorrow will be a little bit warmer, and then the weekend will be a little bit warmer than that. There's a weather system up here, up toward Idaho and up toward Washington that'll pass by to our east during the day tomorrow. And as it goes by, we'll see more of a north breeze in the valley. Because of that north breeze, a red flag warning has been issued for the valley, mostly for the day tomorrow, and really mostly for the west side of the valley. We're talking about north winds at 10 to 20 that'll be gusting over 30 on the west side of the valley, and it's really the low humidity that's the problem in a case like this. So there are a couple of things you want to keep in mind, especially for the day tomorrow. You do not want to be cutting any of that tall, dry grass during the day tomorrow. You can easily start a fire when you
do that. Also, if you're taking the boat tomorrow, make sure your trailer chains are secured. Any dragging on the ground can easily bring up sparks that can cause fires. We've seen that in the past. And also, you don't want to park in any areas of dry grass. So it's going to be dry the next couple of days. Keep that in mind, especially around those areas of dry grass and brush that can easily start a fire at this time of year. Tomorrow, mostly sunny in the high country with highs in the mid-70s. The foothills will only see a breeze tomorrow. Won't be as gusty as what we'll see on the valley floor. Comfortable day. Sonora around 85 and 82 in Placerville. San Francisco, not much fog tomorrow, so with that we'll be in the 70s. Fairfield as high as 90, and we will be windier through the Delta and up through the west side of the valley. It'll be breezy tomorrow in Manteca with a high of 88, 87 in Tracy, and for the Sacramento area, just a little bit warmer than today with a high of 90. 91 in Yuba City. On Saturday and through the weekend, it'll be a little bit warmer and it won't be as windy. And then next week, temperatures actually turn cooler with sun and clouds. Cool for the late part of June with highs only in the low to mid 80s throughout much of next week.
Like cool.
Thank you.
All right, new flights are being offered from Sacramento International Airport to Las Vegas. Spirit Airlines is launching nonstop service now to Sin City. There will be 3 flights available every day and lots of connections available for Vegas. All of today's flights were full. We saw some prices online for as low as, get this, $34 one way. Right now, Spirit flies to 76 cities.
We continue our coverage of the deadly shooting of a Sacramento police officer. We'll have much more on the investigation coming up after the break.
Ahead for us, the bombshell in the trial of a decorated Navy SEAL as another SEAL reveals on the witness stand that he was the one who killed an ISIS prisoner. Also, how all that time spent hunched over our phones may be changing our bodies tonight.
And coming up tonight at 6, continuing coverage of the death of Sacramento police officer Tara O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan is from the Bay Area, and tonight we will hear from some of the people who knew her best.
We're back with some breaking news from Stockton. We have just learned the city's fire chief has been arrested. Stockton police say they have assisted Turlock police with the arrest of Eric Newman. We still don't know why he was taken into custody, but we do know he's been placed on administrative leave. We're going to continue to dig into this, and we will continue to follow the story on the KCRA3 app.
Meanwhile, we continue our coverage of the deadly shooting of a Sacramento police officer.
We want to give you another look at Memorial Auditorium in Sacramento today, where it was supposed to be a happy graduation ceremony. Now more of a solemn event as a new group of cadets are going through to graduate. The entire law enforcement community remembers Officer Tara O'Sullivan, who was shot and killed in the line of duty yesterday. 56 recruits are being sworn in, and this will surely weigh heavy on their hearts. You can see the flags at half-staff out there in her honor. The ceremony kicks off at 6 o'clock, and we will be covering that for you tonight.
Meanwhile, here's a recap of what we know. Officers responded to a call of a domestic disturbance at around noon to a home on Esperanza Drive. It was around 6 in the evening that officers were helping a woman collect her personal belongings at a home on Redwood Avenue. And that's when police say that the suspect came into the home, opened fire, and killed Officer Tara O'Sullivan. Police say that 45-year-old Adele Ramos is the man responsible. Ramos faces murder charges in connection to the shooting. We leave you tonight with the end of watch call heard over the scanners as news broke of O'Sullivan's death.
Sacramento Police Officer Tara O'Sullivan, badge 349. We honor your sacrifice and thank you for your service. To the citizens of Sacramento, we are forever grateful. Officer Tara O'Sullivan is end of watch, June 19th, 2019. Your watch is ended. We'll take it from here. You will never be forgotten.
Never be forgotten, for sure. NBC Nightly News is next.